You say, well, I'm getting by with half my might. Well, okay, but you've got to decide on your own personal philosophy of activity. Now, this philosophy says, do it with all your might. Do you think there's any value or virtue in that?
So that you're fully structured, so that you don't get at the end of the week and go, my gosh, I didn't get any time with my children. I didn't get any time with my girlfriend. I didn't get any time with my boyfriend. Schedule it to begin the week. Take control of your time by scheduling it in your phone.
So it's a whole bunch of dudes that can run off at the mouth. They just didn't turn it into a PhD, a master's degree, a 4-year degree. They didn't hone their gift.
I could do that.
You're sitting around asking yourself what exactly it is that you want to do with yourself and what exactly makes you so special and so unique. You're probably sitting around wondering how you could be like somebody else or look like somebody else, or maybe even follow the same path that other people follow. Let me let you in on a little secret. Nobody's gonna do you better than you. You have to realize that what makes you unique is when you start to realize that you are a unique individual. They always go around saying that imitation is the best compliment. There's no reason for you to imitate anyone. That maybe you can find yourself in a position where you can be inspired by others, but at the end of the day, you have to figure out what makes you tick, what makes you unique.
Well, I don't know. You've got to decide. You've got to weigh this out, right? You've got to evaluate it for yourself and put it on your own mental scales, and you've got to come up with your own answers. How hard should you work?
There's a famous line that says, don't just be listeners, be doers. That's it. Doers. The whole world loves the doers. That's what makes the wealth and the winning. Doing, disciplined, emotional action. Another famous line says, faith without action serves no useful purpose. Wow, what a major piece of information. Many people these days are big on affirmations. You have to be very careful of affirmations.
And he tells this story not with any bitter tone. So he never had that kind of tone when he shared those stories with us. It was, here's an occasion to parlay what today might be called a microaggression into a reason to excel even more than you had expected of your own abilities and talents. And so I have taken that lesson with me.
What's the impact you want to have on the world?
My impact would be people learn from me in a way that they are empowered by what I taught them. So that when they think of what they learned from me, they no longer think of me. They think of their own base of understanding of how this world works. And so that I become irrelevant.
Remember, there is a thin line between faith and folly. Here's the best I can give you on affirmation. Affirmation without discipline is the beginning of delusion. And there is nothing worse than delusion. Walking west looking for the sunrise. It's bad. However, affirmation with discipline can bring the most incredible results. But remember, they go together. Make sure you have a game plan to match your wishes. Otherwise, they will always be wishes. It is always easier to think than to do. It is easier to promise than to achieve. It is easier to pretend than to produce. It is easier to plan than to act. I ask you not to do what is easy, but to do what will actually bring you the achievements you seek. Why postpone your better future any longer? Get at it today.
Because if people say, this is true because Tyson said so, then I failed. That's not how you teach someone. That's teaching them by authority. I want to teach you how to think about the world. And then you say, I have a new way to understand the world. And you just run off. You don't even look back because a new level of hunger has descended upon you. And methods and tools to feed that hunger are now accessible to you. So my impact would be that others are impacted and they don't even remember that I had something to do with it. I had met Carl Sagan when I was 17. I was applying to colleges. He was at Cornell. I had been accepted at Cornell, but didn't know what college I wanted to go to. And the admissions office saw that I wasn't totally in the moment there. I didn't know this. They had forwarded my application to him for his reaction. I was already deep in the universe since I was 9. And he sent me a letter. He doesn't know me from Adam. I'm a 17-year-old kid from the Bronx. He's a professor of astronomy at Cornell University. And I get this letter and I open it and it says, I understand you like the same stuff I like.
What makes you special? You can't put yourself in a position focusing on what other people are doing. And if you feel that that's the direction you need to go and maybe your uniqueness may not satisfy other people, the fact of the matter is you've got to be unique within yourself and you got to believe in yourself. Just think about it, take a moment and think about it. There are a lot of things that you see on television, YouTube, you name it. And you ask yourself, how did this person get to that level? What is it that they got that I don't? Or maybe they don't have what you have and maybe you don't have what they have, but long as you have the right attitude and the right mind frame to understand that maybe it's just not your time.
Remember this, the one thing you do when you begin to look at this phone or you're thinking about something else and you're not present, you're telling whoever is in your presence that whatever you're looking at or thinking about is more important or more compelling than they are. And so schedule the time with your family in your telephone. The other thing, I had a big breakthrough recently for me, which is that I realized that in my own case, I had my entire business life and I fit my family into that life, if this makes any sense. In other words, my family, that could be your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your children, your parents, your grandchildren. For me, over time, I had this huge life, if you will, and I scheduled my family around that life I had business and achievement-wise.
Like, I could do that. And then when I found out I could make money doing it and I could take care of my family, I was like, showtime. Like, you only got one shot. I found out I had a gift. I started thinking about what my mom needs, what my sisters need. You mean to tell me if I perfect this, I can eat and my kids can eat and my kids' kids can eat? What I'm trying to get you to understand is when you understand you have an opportunity, you play a little different. Because I grind so hard, I work so hard, that when I get this opportunity, like, I don't play with it. When my girl got diagnosed with MS, I'm like, it's showtime. You will never work again. Took her to the hospital, found out she had MS. The doctor was like, look, this is the one thing we could tell you. Stress caused MS. I told my girl, you will never work again. I ain't playing games.
You got to keep working on your craft. You got to keep digging in a little bit more and find your own uniqueness. Make sure you stand out. Don't be like everybody just because somebody jumping in the ocean don't mean you gotta jump in the ocean with them. Sometimes you just gotta be able to take your own path and your own walk in life. And so if you figure out exactly what it is, that's to make you better and what's going to make you stand out. And once you find that true belief within yourself, make it grow, make it unique even more. And don't be feeling sorry for yourself because it didn't work out the first time or the second time or even the third time. Doesn't matter how many times you go after it as long as you're going after it. Everybody wants to be unique or everybody wants to be special.
I recently just made a shift in my thinking, and that my family is my priority, and I schedule my business and fitness and finances and faith around them. And so it's just a subtle difference. I built my life around my family rather than fit my family into my life. And so if you just begin to do that, just from a priority sake, in other words, those appointments go first in my calendar. Everything gets scheduled around them. That may only be some weeks, 2, 3, 4 hours, but they're going to get those hours for me and they're going to get them in my full presence. I can promise you that you're not going to get perfect balance in your life, but I can also promise you that you should stop beating yourself up about it because you're supposed to be succeeding in one area. There's also seasons of our lives. Winter, spring, fall, and summer come in everybody's life, and sometimes it's the season of your fitness. It's the season of your faith. It should always be in your faith. It's the season of your finances. It's the season of family. Family's always the priority, but there will be seasons in your life where you must achieve in business for your family. You must achieve in your faith for your family.
This ain't about like putting up something on YouTube. That's like an after effect. This how we eat. This ain't no motivational presentation. This how my mama eat right now. This how my wife never have to go to work again. I earned the right to be here. I grinded to be here. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning the last 13 years. When I was in Milwaukee, I did 5 gigs in one day. My man was like, bro, you look tired. I was like, okay, I'm about to show you that. Because what he was saying was he was looking at my body and he saw the different time zones. He saw the fatigue on my body. And I told my body, like, bro, they bought this 20 grand, bro. You ain't tired. Push through it. I got a different motor. I got a different grind, and I ain't making millions of dollars, but my gift is making room for me. Every time I get on 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm killing them. I'm killing them. Tony Robinson can't keep up. I'm competing against everybody else in the world. I'm not mad at them. I'm not against them. But when you number one, you don't have to negotiate with your check. When you I remember when I was like number 25 or something, they would be like, okay, you got to fly here, you got to fly. Now I tell people how I fly.
Sometimes when people find themselves being lazy, they tend to follow somebody else's path. They figure, hey, if he can do it, if she can do it, I can do what they're doing. Don't do what they're doing. Do what you got to do. To make yourself stand out, everybody wants to be like everybody. Else you don't need to be like everybody else, because if it was meant for you to be like somebody else, you would be exactly where they are right now. Sometimes you just gotta crawl, as they say, before you walk, and if crawling don't work, if walking don't work, and even if running don't work, you wallow on the ground, the dirt or mud, whatever it is, until you find your way in the place you need to be. You can't rush it, but you can trust it, you can believe in it, and you can. Understand it, but if you're not understanding the possibilities of what it means to be unique, then you're going to find yourself being like everybody else.